Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today let's go over another premium hard question in the pandas category that I just solved on my own. So I'm really happy about the fact that I was able to come up with my own solution to this problem without referencing any help. So again, really happy to show you how I did it. So this one was not really hard to understand at all. The question is pretty simple and straightforward. And again, I was able to do it relatively quickly on my own without any assistance. So let me show you how I did it. This one's called Find Quiet Students in All Exams. So basically, again, I don't like reading the description. As always, I just jump straight here. What you'll notice is that each exam ID has a high and a low. That's 70 and 90 for 10. This is only one, so obviously we're not going to include score 1 because that's already a violation, so we can cross out 1. So we're going to look at all the student IDs and we're going to cross out any student ID that's violating, basically crossing a high or a low of any high low based on the exam IDs. So here the high is going to be, the low is going to be 70, the high is going to be 90. Here the low is going to be 60, the high is going to be 80. So you notice that 2 is the only one that doesn't violate this condition because, for example, 30's high is going to be 80, and that's 3 is violating that, so we can cross 3 out. 4 is violating 90 and 60, so you can cross 4 out, and the only one left is 2. 2 has the name of Jade. So if you know that, let's go ahead and code it up. So again, let's collect the exam IDs. Let's make a dictionary. And let's iterate over student or exam IDs to get the value. So D of S, this is going to be our key because we're going to append the exam score of I, and then we're going to sort it, right? Because we want to compare later on whether it's the biggest or the smallest. Okay, so now we have the biggest and the smallest for each exam ID, which is good. Now we have to collect the student IDs. And again, we're going to cross out any violations. So for I, S, and enumerate exam student ID. So now we're going to look at the, actually going to look at the actual exam ID of the corresponding reference of the student ID. So let's call this exam. It's going to be exam of exam ID of I. And we're going to look, the current is going to be whatever that is. And then we're going to ask if at any point, so for example, that is 10. At any point, if the current exam score of I is equal to current of 0 or exam score of I is equal to cur of -1, then we're just going to rule that one out. Why? Because 0 is the smallest, -1 is the largest. We already sorted this list in ascending order from smallest to greatest. So in that case, then we know we have a bad student ID. Then we can just mark, what we're going to do is mark OD. Let's make another dictionary. We're going to say OD of the current student ID, which is S, is going to be false, right? And then if we print OD, now that we can see that OD is everything that's bad, any student IDs that's left over, because it's going to be unique, is going to be true, and that's going to be part of our result. So in this case, it's only student ID 2 with Jade. So let's go ahead and return a data frame because that's a skeleton that we want just to make things pretty. And let's just go ahead and say student columns equals to, we're going to have to do this anyway, so student ID, student name, and equals to, sorry, it's getting a little late. I'm kind of tired right now. Okay, so now count is 0, and then we just have to fill the list. So basically we're going to have a scene, and we're going to insert every single student ID because we're going to get the difference, right? So add s, and then let's call this new, and we're just going to get scene.difference, and od is a dictionary, so the set of od.keys. So if we print new, then that's exactly what we need as the result. So, okay, new is 2. That's exactly what we need, right? So now we can just say we want to fill this result, is and enumerate student ID. So we're obviously going to increment count. So if that's actually, yeah, we can do it this way. If so, might be easier to actually go through new and get the student ID and the student name. So for n in new, let's call this result, because we know this is a 101 mapping. So, or we can just go through for is and enumerate student ID. If s is inside of new, then we can just say result of s is equal to student name of I, and that just gives us a true result. So now we can just populate this. So let's say student ID of count is equal to, well, let's make result a items, so make it a list so we can get this and this, so we can actually iterate over it, index into it, because a dictionary is not, you can't index into it like an array. So we're turning it into an array, and we can just say if count is less than length of result, so we don't go out of bounds, then it's just going to be equal to result of count of 0, and then what is it? The student name of count is result of count of 1, because student, this is going to be like going to be tuples inside of a list inside of result, right? So let's run this. Okay, it doesn't look correct. Oh, dot head length of result, because that is what we need. We don't want duplicates, and this is how many students we have. We know this is unique, so let's submit it. And there you go, passes all test cases. Again, I was really happy I was able to solve this question on my own without any assistance. 100% runtime in memory, which is quite rare for a question that I solved on my own. So pretty proud of that. That's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more.